Hello friends, how's it going? Today we're just gonna do a quick one. I wanted to share with you the Archnemesis recipe that honestly saved the mechanic for me. And it's only just a little bit of a tweak on an existing recipe that many of you might be familiar with. Full credit to whoever came up with this idea and whoever made this image. I don't know where it came from. It was linked to me in my chat during a stream. If you're familiar with what has become one of the more popular recipes, it was Mirror Image, which gives you scarabs, then Treant Horde, which summons a bunch of dudes that you can then get multiple drops from, then Assassin just to add more currency rolls in there, and then Rejuvenating for rolling lucky on the existing rewards, just trying to get the best option from the rewards that you put into that recipe. This is just a tiny twist on that, primarily because scarabs are so common right now. Why are scarabs so common? Operative Strongboxes contain scarabs. We get a lot of scarabs for one of the easier to do strategies in the game that I think a lot of people are still doing. In addition to that, a lot of people are speccing into the Eater of Worlds nodes, and they're running Eater of Worlds on their maps. Why is that relevant here? Because one of the more common modifiers that you get in those altars is monsters drop scarabs or bosses drop scarabs. I actually had a map last night that the boss dropped 9 scarabs because I was able to add 2 or 3 scarabs on every single altar to the boss drop. Basically, just scarabs reign like candy right now. So because of that, using Mirror Image in your first ingredient in your recipe is just going to be lower value. You're not going to be getting drops that are really worth a ton of currency. If I'm putting a lot of effort, if I'm taking 1 or 2 full days to put together a recipe, then I'm getting decent rewards. So what does Temporal Bubble do? Monster is protected by a Temporal Bubble that severely slows those in it and cannot be damaged by those outside of it. That is actually a pain in the butt. It does make this a more challenging encounter, but I actually have something that can help you out with that. And then you can see in the rewards, this is Expedition and Heist currency. The main reason we want to look at this is Expedition currency. We get a lot of Burial Medallions, Astragali, and exotic coins. Yeah, scrap metal too. I know. Sorry, rock fans. But those are just really, really good either for using or for selling. I like to use them. But even if you sell them, they are worth quite a bit of currency. If we take a look at Astragali right here, these alone we can sell for 2.5 to 3 chaos in bulk. And if we had even more, maybe could command an even better price. And then exotic coins and burial medallions, I think are pretty self-explanatory for being worth a ton of currency. I am just a really big fan of having something that literally prints the currency. You talk to Tujin, you click exchange items, and then he just shows you exalts over and over again. We actually had people in Discord last night that were spamming this recipe and running a lot of logbooks, and one person got 4 exalts in 20 exotic coins. It was pretty crazy. So definitely join the Discord in the description below if you're interested in more detail with the money-making strategies and people's results. It's been pretty crazy. Next up, we run Treant Horde. Summons a bunch of dudes. It will choose a randomly chosen reward type, but because all the dudes will drop their rewards, you get a lot of extra drops. It's actually just worth running. Assassin just adds 2 currency rolls to the map pool. Assassin is not exactly the absolute best, but because it just adds currency, there's no downside really. An alternative that I use once in a while is Necromancer that basically gives you a double lucky roll on it. It does add a random item drop to the pool, which is not ideal. Not quite as good maybe as a double currency roll, but because it gives you another double lucky roll, can be nice for making sure that you're ensuring some better drops. And then last up, Rejuvenating. We add more currency to the pool, and then it does a lucky roll on top of that. This, I think, is still probably best in slot for the last ingredient in the recipe. So if you've been doing this recipe for a while, you know that Vampiric is a pain in the butt. You have to use it twice in this recipe to get both your Assassin and Rejuvenating. That's the other reason that I recommend looking at Necromancer. It uses Bombardier and Overcharge. So these are 2 items that are not in the other parts of the recipe. Makes it a lot easier to, if you get all of the other ingredients together, relieve some of that pressure off the Vampiric. A downside that you might see is Temporal Bubble does take a little bit longer to put together than Mirror Image, but I think it's worth it. All right, so let's talk about the encounter and show an example. So what I like to do is take a tier 14 map that's rolled up moderately just to make it a little bit easier and relieve the pressure off of that recipe. As we saw from the description of the Temporal Bubble here, monster is protected by a Temporal Bubble that severely slows it. It also slows down your cooldowns, slows down your mana regeneration, and everything like that. So I actually recommend grabbing a mana flask if you might need it. Let me grab that real quick. Got my enduring mana flask, so I know that I can keep that active throughout the encounter. And then I like to use the Calm's Root. Action speed cannot be modified below base value. And Unwavering Stance, so we can't get stunned either. Really, really nice bonus right there. This just guarantees that no matter what, our character can actually operate, can actually do things. Now, the one big downside that will still be active is our cooldowns will not really cool down anymore. So you have to be careful about that. Make sure that you aren't relying on any cooldowns. You'll see that my Frost Bomb I'll be able to cast it like once throughout this entire encounter. Because we are using rejuvenating at the end, I do strongly recommend putting in Frostbomb if you're able to fit it into your build. Just unspec anything, even Flame Dash if you have to, just to get that in. The minus 75% to the life regen rate makes a big, big difference for the rejuvenating portion. All right, I got to move a couple gems around here. Just put the critical stuff right here. See, Flame Dash and Arcane Surge, they got to go. So I make sure I have those Calm's Roots on so I can actually walk around during the encounter, dodge things if I have to, and actually do things. You actually can't even cast or attack when it gets really, really bad. All right, so let's put it in. All right, first encounter is not too bad. Doesn't get too hard yet. Next up, we put in Treant Horde. This is not any harder, really. Just add some minions to the encounter. There you go, not bad, but you can already see we're starting to get decent amount of Astragali, scrap metal, whatever. And if we got barrel medallions and exotic coins and all that, it would start to add up. Not to mention, look at the number of rogue markers. We have about 2,000 rogue markers right here, and they're actually worth a decent amount at this point. All right, now we put in Assassin. Assassin does make it a little bit rippier. Be careful. If you don't use anything like Defiance Banner, you may get crit. Just be a little bit careful. Put a safety portal down if you have to. And let's do it. All right, there we go. 5 more Astragali. As you remember, that was 2.5 chaos each. We're already getting really, really good drops here. All right, and one of the most important things here is make sure that the last minion that you choose is not a really, really scary one. The ones like Katava's Herald are really scary. The Flicker Strike Spider can be pretty scary. So just make sure you find... Oh, and then like the big cage monster, that thing will have infinite life. So watch out for that one. Anyway, let's prepare for this final encounter here. I actually want to take off my acceleration shrine. That would be a little bit of cheating here. And we want our frostbolts to be really, really slow anyway, so they stay inside the encounter. All right, so let's put in rejuvenating. As I said before, Frostbomb is really, really nice for reducing that life regen. And let's see how it goes. Put down a safety portal. I might die. So big annoying thing here. Make sure I put on my boots. I did. Is it will blink around quite a bit, but I'm actually able to operate my character at all during this encounter. Normally, if I didn't have Comb's Roots, my character wouldn't even move. I wouldn't have any mana. I wouldn't have anything. So very, very important to be able to do the encounter. All right, so this has been easily my worst result so far, and I'm going to keep that in just to demonstrate that even at the bottom, you're still getting decent rewards. So Astragali, 2.5 chaos each. Even at a low volume, we can command a higher price if we do this more times and we're selling like 100 at a time. Exotic coins, 4 chaos each. Easily, I always use my exotic coins. They are worth way, way more than that, in my opinion. I think that's dramatically underpriced. I should go buy some right now. Rusted Expedition Scarab. These things sell like hotcakes. They are absolutely in demand. People do know that the old logbooks and the Expedition are very profitable. We got 8 raw chaos and the other random junk. I'm just going to round down and say that's worth about 5 chaos. 46 chaos roughly for the absolute bottom of the barrel results. I've had other ones where I got 10, 15 exotic coins, 4 to 8 barely medallions, everything like that. And yeah, that's just like such a better feeling than getting a bunch of rusted garbage scarabs, you know, tormented scarabs and shaper scarabs that you can't even sell for 1 chaos if you wanted to. Anyway, just a really little quick one today. This has absolutely made Archnemesis more worth doing to me. Doing the mirror image recipe and just getting scarabs all the time honestly felt kind of bad to me. And I was actually just skipping it for a long time. As soon as this was called out, I tried it a couple times. The results were spectacular. I was way, way happier. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to have fun. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all soon. All right, goodbye.